upset, and they haven't. So
yeah, that's absolutely true. And that said, I mean, CLG also drastically underperformed, comparatively speaking, to what their roster should be.
Sure, they did over the course of the year for the most part, and they made a roster change. We'll see how it affects them. SK made their roster change earlier in the year, and
how does it feel, being here in this environment? How is it hanging out with the team and everything? Just where's everyone's spirits at? What's the atmosphere like?
No, it's amazing. Like, it's so fun. Like, we hang out, and it's not just the game. So we come and talk and know the place, because we don't know most of us never come to USA, so it's so fun.
It's nice for us to try to, get to meet some of y'all finally, get to come see you here at the event. So, I mean, I know y'all have some confidence, but anything you can tell me about what y'all are playing for this match or some of your preparation, what's that been like for SK in particular?
Yeah, we studied their bands and picks, especially their picks. And we studied a lot, and we know what they can do, and we are really prepared for this.
Well, I wish y'all all the luck, man. Definitely looking forward to getting to see y'all actually go in here in action, playing some Smite. So, again, good luck. Y'all go ahead and get prepped and everything. Thanks for talking with us. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot there, John. Good conversation. Spethro said something that I think was really important and something that I want everybody to kind of remember and take part of. It's not just the game here. I mean, HRX, big community celebration. It's and I think that's the coolest part is the fact that placement rounds brings everybody here. And so the Brazilian team, they've never been here before. They do get to see all their friends, and they're watching the SPL. They're fans just as much as anybody else. So I think that's a really cool moment there coming out from No Ping. They'll be headed up against SK Gaming, unsuccessful in the Pro League. Will they be successful against the international region?
I think that they're going to have a little bit better success this time around. I don't think it's going to be as clear-cut as a lot of players think. They think it's the international squads. You can write them out there. I think that they're going to have a much more difficult matchup than players are probably giving them credit for.
Is that because SK Gaming is a little bit on the lower end, or is that because No Ping might surprise players at how strong they are?
I think it's a little of both onto that one. I think that SK hasn't shown what they can do just yet. I mean, they've had all year to really prove that. Now is kind of that moment where they have to step up to the pedestal.
It's absolutely, everything's here. This is, for all the marbles, well, maybe not, it is double elimination, but we'll get to that when we get to that. SK Gaming certainly have to rise to the occasion for placement rounds, and we'll see how they work up against No Ping, and of course, the rest of the bracket, should they move on. No Ping, on the other hand, no slouch in their own region. I think one of the biggest things that I can bring to you is that we might be unfamiliar with some of these players because this is one of their first lands, but they got here by beating a team that gets here every single damn time. Every split, every HRX, we have seen Kliz and the Black Dragons and their awesome jackets. This is the first time we're not seeing them, so clearly something is working for No Ping.
I think that's a great point. I mean, in order to be better than Black Dragons, which No Ping was twice this year, during the fall split in particular, they beat them twice head-to-head. They earned their spot here, so we'll see if they can live up to that same level of competition. I do think there's a chance we see them step down from where Black Dragons usually are, though, because this is their first time getting a chance to see this level of competition, whereas they've been practicing against Black Dragons and know what Black Dragons do, what the players are like, their tendencies. That's a very familiar opponent to them, so even though they beat them twice, that's very impressive for that roster. It's not going to be quite the same as going up against a team like SK.
That was a big point. That was a big talking point for me when I was going over No Ping earlier last week, is the fact that they might be better than Black Dragons in that region, but it's all about relative strength. And they might be absolutely better than Black Dragons, but relative strength compared to what the SPL teams are bringing is different. As Ryan was saying, different variables, being inundated, being familiar with the people, the players. I mean, Kliz is coming here and hanging out with his friends. That's a level of comfort that you're just not going to have from No Ping. So I think that's going to be a big part of that. You think that's going to affect the game?
I think that's going to be one of the biggest parts. Is you're not, as he said in his interview, he's not familiar with the area. He's not familiar with really any of the SPL players on a personal level. He's here for the first time with his team going up against, it may be the bottom EU SPL team, but it's still an SPL level team.
SK Gaming have the ball in their court. First pick, first ban. We'll see where they direct to go. That's Sanyo, by the way, the coach with the hat on in the back. He's been a part of the squad for a little bit. We've seen him play on and off on the challenger circuit and some things like that. So we'll see if he can assist their picks and bans phase, because that's been a point of contention with this team, I think, with their fans. A lot of players and fans think that they don't have the best drafting phase.
SK has struggled in every aspect of Pro Smite this year. I mean, you don't go 1-29 by being really good at some things but really bad at others. It just doesn't work that way. So you're right. The draft has definitely been a big issue for them, and hopefully they've got a good grasp of what the meta is. Because drafting, there's some cleverness you need to have, and the ability to fake out your opponent and think a couple steps ahead. That's all very important. But at the end of the day, it's really just meta understanding, and also the understanding of your team and how it plays up against the enemy team. And SK hopefully has spent this time between the end of the fall split and this placement stage, spending a lot of time dedicating themselves to understanding the meta.
Yeah, I think SK understand their game. I think they understand that they need to give fun ball characters that can fight in lane. I think they understand they need to give fails a long shot. And I think they understand that they kind of have to let Lobster do his job as a heavy carry mid. SK Gaming, I think of sort of, I see a lot of Obey Alliance in SK Gaming, theoretically, right? If SK were to win, I think that their game style would be very similar to what Obey brings, where it's very heavy in that mid lane with Pretty Prime. I think that Lobster can be a big part of that. I've said it throughout the regular season, though. Fails has to step up.
Fails has really got to be the big name for it. We've seen the jungle kind of be the momentum setter for a lot of these teams today. Even, I mean, not just today, but all split long. It's been a very jungle-heavy season. And right now, Fails has got to be the one to step up on this most likely Erlong Shen for him. We've seen it go into the jungle countless times today. We did see it one support.
We did.
Won't talk about it.
No, that didn't go particularly well for inbound. This Baron ban is interesting for me for No Ping, because no other team has really prioritized Baron whatsoever in the top half of the draft. We've seen it once today, and that was picked 9th, I believe, by Trifecta. So it hasn't been a big point of contention, but SK does like to run it, Ducky in particular. So maybe No Ping is really just trusting their instincts and trusting their preparation. You heard their coach say they've prepared a lot based off SK's picks and bans. I just don't know that SK would have been picking the Baron very early on.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think that No Ping absolutely are going with what they've seen the team do throughout the course of the season. Right now, taking some time to really figure out their first selection. It will be an RDO overall, which I think neuters Erlong Shen really, really well, and Odin another one. So right away, No Ping looking to take care of SK's selection.
Odin really strong god against their Erlong Shen. We talked about it all day, how great Odin is against these healing, either the self-heal gods or the AoE heal gods, because this could now say, well, we don't want you to pick up the Terra, who's been such a massive pick throughout the entirety of the day. But I think going back to what they were talking about in the interview, how they've been studying SK's game, the question now is, has SK been studying No Ping at all, or is SK just going to play what SK knows?
Likely, I'd imagine SK hasn't done as much preparation for No Ping as the reverse is true about SK, because that's traditionally how it goes in the SPL. I mean, you heard Clout say earlier today that they did very little preparation for Nocturnes. That nearly cost Luminosity a win.
Yes.
I mean, it did cost them at least one win. Likely should have been two, but they were able to escape with that 2-1 victory. SK looking a lot like Trifecta with this draft. I believe Trifecta did go those exact top three in Game 3 up against Insignum, but that was the game they lost.
Ooh. We'll see if SK can turn things around for this one. Ratatasker, choice for No Ping, likely to be in the jungle. Of course, can have a little bit of flex, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Second phase bans coming out here. And if I'm SK Gaming, I know that I've got to put an eye on Hunters and a mid laner. And if I'm No Ping, I'm probably looking at eliminating a Hunter and perhaps a Warrior.
Mid lane probably the big one here, because No Ping does have the first option after the ban phase. They'll likely ban away more mages, knowing what they already want to play, and then having 2 or 3 backups in case SK goes for that ban against them.
Jingwei's a good one up against Funballer. He's played this pick a lot during Season 5 and has looked pretty strong on it. But I hope they've been paying attention to what SK has picked as of late. That should be a Cupid ban next, or else it will be there for Funballer, no doubt in my mind.
We've seen him play the Cupid a number of times, and this is a composition that the Cupid would be wonderful in. When you think Cupid, you think a giant cripple field. All 3 of these characters want to scurry around the map using their jumps or their dashes, so Cupid would theoretically do well there. You are not a fan of Cupid at all.
No. don't think he does anything at all. I mean, I'm obviously being facetious, but what he does is the giant AoE cripple, which is very easily immune by sprint. Sprint in Heavenly Wings is the reason that you don't see Cupid more often in competitive play, and I'm surprised they banned the on her. Maybe they're counting on the fact that he won't pick Cupid because of Odin Cage, threat of Odin Cage there that would lock him in, but I'd imagine that Funballer is going to be A-okay and just tell Half Devil, get a Phantom, and I'll deal with it. I just think that Cupid is so if Cupid falls behind, he does so little in comparison to every other hunter. His base attack speed isn't particularly good. I know he gets the extra attack speed from leveling up his dash, but it's still, I mean, you could pick just about any other hunter in the roster, and I'd feel like we have more comeback potential with that than we do with the Cupid.
I always feel awkward, perhaps that's the wrong term, but I don't like hunter bans usually because I think that most hunters are the same. I think that you have Chernobog with the global ult, Apollo 2 sort of.
And they picked the best matchup for Cupid or one of them. Funballer has got to be ecstatic right here, right? I mean, he's going to pick Cupid here, right?
Do I have enough power? Can we see the camera on Funball? Can I do that? I don't know if I can do that, so I'm sorry to production already. But if Funball's face can reflect it.
That's a man who's about to lock in a big baby.
So Vamana?
No, like, because he got a big head, like that skin, you know what I'm talking about? Like, he's going to play he's actually hovering Ho Yi. Did they talk him out of the Cupid?
I think they might have talked him out of it.
Like, just give him Cupid, man.
I just saw him. I read his lips. He said Cupid.
Give it to him.
Come on.
This is the pick.
Give it to him.
It's obviously the pick. Okay,
we can move on. With Ram across the way, Cupid is the selection. You mentioned it in passing. The ultimate goes down. Ram goes to the sky. He gets trapped in the Cupid ultimate.
Ho Yi.
Can't roll out, but Ho Yi is going to be the selection here. And it's going to be next to a Bacchus.
I love Bacchus. Bacchus is one of my favorite Guardians to see, and when you couple him with somebody who's very choreographed, you know, obviously the Omni Dash on Ram is a little hard to predict immediately, but as soon as you see that, it's the belly flop right on top of him. But I love the counter pickup here of the Isis, knock-up immune during her Wind Gust, not going to stop a lot of her damage there, so I like the reassumption here by No Ping.
Also, you want to talk about insane follow-up to Odin Cage? Circle of Protection does more than Zeus ult or Vulcan ult ever will if you're allowed to full charge it. I think this is pretty smart by No Ping. You can also, not cheese isn't the right word, but you can use your early game pressure to consistently pressure Gold Furies and Pyromancers, be dropping Circle of Protection on that. You'll out-secure the Raijin easily. I like this draft from No Ping. I like the plan they came in with. I'm surprised that Funballer didn't go for a signature pick.
I gotta say, I am surprised that we're not going to see the Babby as well. But I am a sucker for good, what I think is intelligent drafting. When I see the odd counter draft or the one line of text and an ability that makes it happen, right? When we saw the Ganesh into the Odin, things like that make me excited. I think this Isis into the Bacchus, J-Mac, that you highlighted, I'm super amped about that because that tells me, I think that's very telling, that tells me that the team not only does their homework, but intimately knows the game. And a lot of teams that are just, well, yeah, we push our buttons and we're better than you. And I think that time of those teams in the spotlight is over. You have to be a student of the game in order to be successful. And I'm excited to see the international regions picking it up and No Ping going to walk in that area.
And I think that Isis of all of the mages is going to be this great matchup against Bacchus because she's going to be able to negate almost all of Bacchus's kit, aside from the ultimate, which is really strong, but she's got the silence to get rid of the belch. She has the Wind Gust for knock-up immunity, can stun him out as well with the Spirit Ball. I mean, Isis, I think, is just probably the most intelligent pick that No Ping has brought here on this roster.
I think Isis is a little bit underrated overall right now and something that we might see more teams adopt, but if he falls behind on this Isis pick, it's going to get ugly pretty quickly. That can kind of be said for all of No Ping. I mean, we saw what happened to Get on My Level just a moment ago by Mouse Sports. I don't think we'll hit that level of dominance here from SK, but I do think SK should look to still play aggressive in this matchup.
Certainly is going to be an interesting one. SK Gaming 1-29 throughout the regular season. No Ping toppling Black Dragons for what is the first time in SMITE history we're not seeing Black Dragons at a LAN event. Kind of crazy watching how the cookie crumbles, and I think both of these teams are kind of oddly evenly matched because SK Gaming not very successful, No Ping very successful, but just not inundated with the rest of the league, very new to everybody else, but sometimes it's that beginner's luck that you need. No Ping's coming through, and it's going to be SK Gaming across the way. Hindu Man, bring us the action.
Thank you so much, Tom, Agro, and J-Mac. In we go. Europe versus Brazil. Brazil sending out a new team this time round. The Black Dragons didn't make it. Cliz and the boys were defeated by No Ping in regular season play. And this is the first chance for No Ping to show what they've got against a SK team that have had trials and tribulations this season.
Can No Ping Esports bring it home for Brazil? Stay tuned and find out on this next episode of SMITE. Battleground of the Gods. Up against SK Gaming, this would be a good test for them because this is, well, the worst European Pro League team going 1-29, as Tom said, on the desk, only beating out Obey Alliance during the spring split in a best-of-3.
Definitely a lot for both teams to prove in this one as well. Brazil to show that there's a reason they have made it to this line, that they can compete at the highest level. And to be fair, South America has been the international region other than EU and NA that has really made things fly for themselves. Now, though, is the time for both these teams to show what they have, and the dual lane is going to be as busy as you'd expected it to be with an Odin and a Bacchus in it.
You can only disrupt the round from clearing for so much. I understand the mentality of Half Devil jumping onto you, Fel, to prevent some of those astral arrows from connecting, but disrupting it for about a full second, you're still not going to stop the ROM, and Purple Buff Race goes to No Ping Esports.
Do you like the confidence, though, to see the Bacchus come into play for Half Devil here? It's one of his go-tos since Season 1, back in the old days. He's an old-school style support that's, you know, still doing his thing.
And he's playing the cute little bear skin. Like, let's be real. He's dipping his hand in the honey.
Football is in so much trouble. What a great flop from Half Devil, though. Keeps his hunter alive, as well as did cost him his sprint to make sure.
Oh, man. You know, Funballer wouldn't be in trouble there if he was playing the Cupid.
Yeah, maybe not, but at the same time, I mean, that was just a nice little play, honestly, from the dual lane of No Ping.
And that's the advantage that they have. Oh, mid lane, though. Lobster showing off up against Ship.
2 versus 2, that's what you'd expect. Ducky might get a kill here, because why is Margaret still in this lane? Friend, you've got no health bar, be careful. You're burning. It burns.
Ouch.
Oh, no.
That was a lot of damage. Level 2 Cerberus is no joke. The paralyzing spit, after shredding some protections from the ghastly breath, even at level 1, is going to add up.
I want to know if Cliz is on Twitter now going, I would have died quicker or slower than that in that situation. Sure, we'll find out, but it's 2-0. Quick lead for SK as Ship under pressure again. All in by the jungler and mid laner from SK Gaming. There's a kill, and this could be another.
Oh, needs one more basic type of Lobster's not in range to find that one, but still will be a technical kill as Gon has to go back to base, allowing Fails to get some more jungle farm.
So a couple of these players, though, on No Ping have been around the scene a while. I've definitely seen Ship, once upon a time known as O-Ship, and Gon as well. There's competed at a high level, but this is the first time this whole roster has been together.
The dual lane still looking for a little bit of trade between these two, and that's what you got to do when you drafted Odin. Wherever that Odin is, you got to be playing aggro.
Nice little flop from Half Devil there, just to slow it down once more. Well, let's take a look back at that respawn first blood that happened so moments ago.
The mid lane going onto Ship's Isis. The advantage of having a level 3 red buff, Ryshin, and the blink knockup prevents the Spirit Ball from detonating onto Lobster.
Great little work out of Fails then. SK had their troubles throughout the regular season up in the European SPL. But that's what you'd expect from the level of competitiveness out of them so far. You can see how well Europe's been doing with the fact the minor league team in Signum defeated Trifecta, the 4th seed from North America, earlier on today.
And they were mentioning how they were scrimming up against certain SPL teams, Mouse specifically, other minor league teams. Being able to find a victory over Trifecta definitely caught a lot of people off guard.
Well, this ISIS pick has started to cause a couple of problems already for No Ping themselves. The desk was mentioning that if ISIS falls behind early, it can be a bit troublesome, Told, and it looks like that may be the case now.
You need a lot of protections as an ISIS, and when you're caught out of position, it is going to be a 3-on-2. Fails, gets his first kill of the game.
Good rotation, though, coming out from Ducky there early on in this one. Dual lane uncontested between the two so far, but SK off to a barrel of laughs in this middle and jungle position. Both level 5 already, and stripping away the red bull for extra golden experience.
Ship needs to play so far back. He can't be this far ahead because you're going to get blinked on by Fails every single time. Or you're just going to get Thunder Crash, which is going to be that stutter step, that stutter mez, to allow the root from Fails, and then afterwards, if you don't have your Wing Gust because you used it to clear, you're a goner.
The poor dude was under his tier 1 tower there, right, when he died. Let's be honest. Like, he was How far back do you want him to go, Tony? He can't go back to Fountain. He's not going to get any
Okay, let me
experience.
rephrase this. He needs to be behind
The
somebody.
tier 1 tower.
He needs to be behind one of his teammates, right? Gon needs to be the one leading the charge, or at least be lateral to your teammates. So that way, if Ship gets dunked on, that Gon can at least alleviate that pressure and return the favor.
I'm going to get to say something that I've not had chance to say in a while. SK Gaming are in command of this game and off to a very dominant position.
Facts, honestly. 1,000 gold in the lead, 5 minutes in.
For SK Gaming!
They haven't had this moment often in all of Season 5, so the fact that they got it now could be the confidence that they need to maybe win this game, and we'll see how that'll
Win well.
transition. I mean, I don't know about all that.
I
either,
mean,
man.
come on.
Your words, not mine.
It's going to start somewhere. I am the gambler after all, and that's a real true gamble. But so far, all the kills have really centered around the jungle mid position. Granted, Ducky did manage to find that solo kill up against Margot, who, honestly, a little bit too far forward and out of position there, a little bit disrespectful to the damage that Cerberus could bring. But SK starting to group as 3 in the mid lane now and draw Noping into an awkward situation.
The root onto the Odin, but good stun from Ship is going to at least peel for the moment. You know, Half Devil's feeling himself when he's positioning himself for a red buff invade. Spethro going to receive a little bit of poke. Lobster just going to disengage.
Arco's going to go down here. That'll extend the lead a little bit more so, but in the jungle, UFEL has to roll away from the danger of Half Devil. 4 members now of No Ping group to defend the red buff, where 4 members of SK are waiting. Fail's going to go in.
Oh, a great double tap. And all the drums are banging out of Lobster as Funballer gets a kill for himself.
Oh, banging the drum for a good reason. They're 6-0 now. SK Gaming really showing that even though they've not been winning so far this year, it doesn't mean they're an absolute terrible team. UFEL may actually fall, but he's under his tower. He won't survive long enough. Fails, pretty much solos him down. Half Devil gets the assist.
The timing of the knockup right before the ultimate from Rom, so important to disrupt any sort of CC immunity. Holding on to the beads was UFEL, but not respecting the CC. You know, you got a javelin toss. You got to use your ultimate right then and there because you got to predict that turtle knockup immediately after.
Look at the seriousness on the faces of SK Gaming, though. There's no messing around here whatsoever. The year they've had has been rough through trials and tribulations, but those player cams, they are here to just grind this out as quick as possible. They're really putting a beat down onto No Ping. I just don't know, where do they get back into it here, No Ping?
They don't want to follow the same fate that Trifecta did, underestimating their opponents.
Yeah.
And Luminosity in set number 1, despite winning the best of 3, severely underestimated their opposition, I believe. The fact that they even went to 3 games was unpredicted for Luminosity. Nocturne's really showing off in that first set. So now here in set number 4, SK Gaming, watching the previous 3 sets, are like, okay, we have to take this as seriously as possible. We were reading the lips of Funballer. You know he wanted Cupid. I believe we turned to his camera right as he mouthed Cupid, but he was probably talked out about it simply because there was an Odin out of Spethro. And even Aggro mentioned on the desk that, oh, you know, Half Devil can pick up Phantom just to have the Cupid pick. But it's not worth changing your whole identity of your team composition.
Funballer's on his own on this left-hand side and taking more damage than bargained for. The Sun slowed down, a bit of aggression with the snipe. 1 is good, 2 not so much. 3rd one off the mark as well. Funballer going to escape. Oh, no, nice little blinking by Spethro.
Oh, jumping right onto Fails. Good little peel. Defensive ultimate
What's
from
Lobster doing?
Spethro. Lobster banging away here, but he's getting dove onto Gon.
Bit overconfidence from SK Gaming now. They're feeling the lead, and they're getting away with murder at the moment. Honestly, they're overextended. 2 more kills for SK. This could open up the red buff and even the gold fury here.
Oh, Half Devil was feeling himself zoning away for so long. He thought somebody was going to be around the corner to follow up, so he drops the Intoxicate. But zoning long enough for SK Gaming to invade the red buff after a couple of picks, not wanting to overstretch on the gold fury quite yet. Health department not particularly topped off, so they'll wait for another sunny day.
And now with this on the right-hand side, you can see Margot Annie just trying to look around the blue buff, but there's nothing for him to take. Black Harpies are available, but he's just seen Fails going around there. Won't want to contest the Erlang Shen at this stage, who is equal level with the amount of farm he's been getting.
Doing a decent amount of damage with the Crusher now completed alongside Talaria boots. So going to have the mobility to ping-pong between point A and B of the jungle side. A good way to outpace the opposing jungler here. 1 level disparity between the 2.
Now on the left-hand side, just left Half Devil just to keep UFEL busy and not free farming as Funballer made that rotation towards the mid lane. Ducky being looked at on the right-hand side by Gon and Morgatana, but not going to be any much more coming out of that because Fails will be there for the blue buff.
It's a clean, little aggressive play. SK Gaming not pushing their lead too far forward. They're just looking for some poke here, some poke there, gaining the advantages with the ward vision, making sure that they are not too close to the enemy towers.
Ricochet does connect, and Spare Throw Shield is basically used for defense there more than any sort of damage whatsoever. That's the benefit of Odin now and again. The main thing for NoPing is get out of this laning phase alive, really. I mean, the gold lead, sure, it's about 3,000-4,000, which is pretty substantial. But if they can get to team fights totally, the combination of abilities is still there.
They should. Gon needs to get out of there before Fails jumps on him. And the reason why the dual lane of NoPing is not doing better than they are is simply because their mid laners started to collapse, and that's going to allow Fails to start looking for those plays. That double blink taunt out of Fails between that tier 2 tower.
Well, at least he's not got Ricochet this time round. Funballer does have his ultimate, though, and Spare Thrower was going to back it. Ooh, the confidence in that back. He knew Funballer wasn't going to hit that. Not even close, mate.
He would have definitely backed as soon as the tower aggro would have occurred, and then that's when Odin also has his own shield, his jump, so he knew he was going to be safe. It would take about 3 Ho-Yi ultimate ticks to get that kill.
Well, pressure in mid, pressure in the duo lane, so why not go for a Gold Fury? Meanwhile, the back of that, Spethro and Gon both returning from base to the back Harpies. And not enough ward coverage to see what was going on. NoPing fall further behind in terms of gold.
About 11 minutes in, it took for SK Gaming to finally go for their first Gold Fury after being up 9-0, building off of about a 4,500 gold lead. Experience is definitely up there as well, looking in between the two mid laners, the supports, and the hunters, all with a 2-level disparity.
Yeah, Ship's just really in a world of hurt right now, trying to work towards the Book of Thoth at the moment. Only level 9, 2 levels down on Lobster, and 5 deaths. I mean, there's not much you can do at this stage apart from hope and dream, because you've not really got a composition to protect you in the laning phase. Ratatoska can only do so much.
So when Wolfie from Team Rival drafts Isis, he has a lot of protections as NoPing going for a very cheeky Pyromancer. I like this confidence, having the vision control. But there's a reason why Isises are selected in specific moments. This game in particular, it's to synergize with the Odin from Spethro. The problem is Spethro hasn't been able to make those rotations to get the impact with the cages. Everyone can basically jump out of the cage minus Fails.
Margot took a bit more damage than bargained for there. Ducky may have been able to get a kill if he used the Stygian Torment, but just poking him out is good enough because the teleport is on cooldown for Morgatani in this solo lane, I should say, so extra bit more pressure as well. The boon, though, is that Pyromancer. I'm pleased that NoPing are down 9-0, but I still try to make something happen.
Gonna grab 500 gold for themselves in that objective, but giving up that Gold Fury is a little rough. NoPing not able to really do much about it, and Agro alluded to it on the desk how Isis is a great pick for objective control.
Spethro under pressure, pinned in place, leaps away, flop down from Half Devil. The follow-up damage is okay, but the Intoxicate wasn't enough to bring down the tanky Odin at that stage. But it wasn't up for ult trade, as on the left-hand side, the focus at the moment from Fails is towards Ufel, who's trapped under his tier 1. Good news is he's got a ward where Fails keeps trying to roam between that tier 1 and tier 2 tower.
Such an important ward. We don't see that ward very often, so the fact that NoPing is bringing it out just goes to show they are relying on Ufel to carry them in that late game. He's sitting under the tower. He's trying to build some stacks with the Devourer's Gauntlets. He needs to get to that late game form and max out that pick-me-up.
Love the fact Lobster kind of waits around a little bit before clearing the wave, trying to draw in a couple of members of NoPing. Spethro going to take a bit of poke damage there overall. Has to leap away from Half Devil, but Fail's going to go in now. Half Devil tanking this up. Circle of protection down. Kept him alive for a minute, but not long enough.
Spethro now next on the chopping block. He drops the shield, but doesn't have the jump to get out of that one. Very clean 2-for-0. SK Gaming extending their lead.
And they're going to proxy farm this wave so they can look at getting the tier 1 tower in the mid lane next. Really, they want more kills if they can find it. But they will take the towers after the fact. If not, 5 members strong in the mid. Ufel forced to ult defensively. The middle tier 1 tower falls down.
SK Gaming, their synergy this game is flawless, honestly. The way Fails blinks in as the same time Lobster bangs on those taiko drums, and also the mechanical skill from Lobster in that last gank didn't miss a single shot there, and that's not easy to do, to hit all 4 of them considering the range. That was almost max distance on the Raijin shots.
This game specifically won't silence the critics of SK Gaming, that's for sure, but it will at least make them take a look back and look at the performance the team can put in. So far, not lost a single life. maybe one or two other extensions, but with a huge lead like they've had, there wasn't much to really lose so far this game.
They're playing pretty clean, I would say, thus far, and they aren't overstretching, right? They're not tower diving tier 2s.
Yeah.
They're being methodical. Like, the worst mistake SK Gaming had made was, like, Half Devil wasting his Intoxicate on an Odin that was clearly going to disengage.
Fail's going to land the pin on Ship, and that's going to cause a lot of damage, but Ship is already dead. Soon after the fact, Spethro falls too. And this is just getting awkward now for the Brazilians, as it's going to be murderous as the game continues. SK could even start looking towards a Fire Giant, and you can kind of see by this rotation that's where they're heading.
It's possible that they're going for it. Looking at the ultimates, Half Devil has Intoxicate, Lobster with the Taiko drums for the team fight if they want to go for it. Recognizing Margot is wrapping around underneath. It's up to Half Devil to force her out.
Up, down, the bear is no more. He's just got a sore head at the moment. Left-hand side, you fell. Will try and return a tier 1 tower of his own to the one that SK got in the mid lane. SK can't get the Fire Giant, however. They're going to settle for trying to get a tier 1 on the right-hand side.
Lobster is going to bully out. You fell from getting that tier 2 tower, not able to connect on the Percussive Storm after dropping the Raiju. But how is No Ping going to defend this tier 2 tower with just a lonely level 9 Odin on Spethro?
Yeah, Mogahani's still down for another 15 seconds. Only the Odin here doesn't have his ring available, so this Blink-in is very risque, in my opinion. It's more damage than bargained for, and yeah, he used Blink, but you see the giggle on his camera because he couldn't even leap away.
That's right. I like the play, though. That was a smart way of trying to defend, because when you blink in, you still have your jump available. The problem was the CC duration from SK Gaming. They timed it very well. A good stun from Funballer, which was followed up with a beautiful knockup from Fails.
Nice flop from Half Devil, and Lobster gets himself onto a rampage now, 5-0-5. And Ship's like, what am I supposed to do against this? This is a joke.
He's just laughing now at this point. Sitting at 0-8. He was thinking about getting some penetration, but now he realizes, listen, I'm getting focused so much. I got to go for the Mad Guy's cloak, and how can you fault him?
So the question is, Toli, I think No Ping realizes this is getting out of the realm of possibilities for Game 1.
At least Game 1.
What is the difference for Game 2 that needs to happen for them? This is what they should be talking about in comms here. Where did it go wrong? Clearly, Ship dying 8 times does not help.
Sure.
Was it the pick? Was it the positioning? Was it the combination?
It was the positioning and not respecting Fails.
Fails. Could actually be under aggression here. God uses ultimate just to get in range, but Fails still alive for a moment. Tier 1 tower is going to fall down on the right-hand side. Fails the feeder can be announced to the world now as No Ping get their first kill of the game.
I was wondering if there was a side bet for SK Gaming of like, all right, whoever dies first is buying dinner, basically.
Could be. Could be. I mean, if they go deeper in the tournament, they get more prize money too, so we'll see how that works out for them. Lobster, though, level 16, 3 levels above that of Ship. His build's coming along nice and quietly. Player damage-wise, though, shoutouts to Margaret Annie, who's still doing things, well, the best things he can on this Artia.
Half Devil going to get stunned now from Osha, barely taking any damage. Going to get silenced out from the stun. A nice little disruption here. Half Devil can't get his belly flop off.
Yeah, Gripple from Margaret caused a lot of problems for him there. Still the chase is on for Half Devil. Funballer a little bit far forward, forced to beads away, but Lobster has been left alone to just keep whacking away on the enemy team of No Ping. Half Devil's one hit from death goes down to Margaret Annie, but Funballer hits the ricochet and goes in towards Ratatoska, who slips out round the right-hand side. You fell in the mid lane, rolls away. Ducky and Funballer giving chase. Ricochet in a few seconds' time. Might not even be needed. The basic was good enough.
They're not done yet. Spethro was trying to back right around the corner. Gets spotted out by Fails. Respawning with a nice little javelin toss, keeping him in place. 4 for 1. SK Gaming still on top.
Wouldn't be an SK set if Half Devil had lived. We had to make that clear right away. You know, he was undying at that moment in time. 011, the best scoreline for a support.
Somebody needed to die first, right? So once Fails died, it's like, all right, now
That's like a domino effect,
now I can
right?
go.
Yeah, now I can go.
It's my turn now.
Fire Giant, however, being looked at by SK Gaming, absolutely dominating Game 1 up against No Ping, the Brazilians here. These are the bottom seed in the SPL, and, well, they're still showing they've got what it takes to compete at a high level.
So something that we didn't talk about is the difference between online play versus the LAN environment. If you look at the roster from SK Gaming, outside of Fails, the rest of these players have quite a bit of LAN experience. So now that they're a little bit more comfortable in the LAN environment, their performance is actually going to go through the roof. Keep in mind, in spring, and the summertime, it was only the top 2 per region that got their opportunity at LAN.
Completely right. I do think, though, that No Ping not having much LAN experience as well is hindering them a little bit. And I don't think this is the hardest opposition SK are going to have to run into. But it's definitely something to, like, give it a feather in the cap, you know, give them a bit more confidence for SK. If they can do well against Brazil here, maybe they can do better against the other members of their region, first of all.
It's very possible. SK Gaming stepping it up and playing clean. So when I see a team dominating a team that's not expected to win, I'm seeing how they do it. And the way SK Gaming are doing it with this cleanness by not tower diving tier 2s or Phoenixes or any shenanigans like that gives me hope that SK Gaming are being so serious about their chances here that they're not even taking No Ping Esports for granted.
Yeah, they take it methodically more often than not. Left-hand side now, the whole team of SK starting to group up. No Ping just trying to push out and get as much farm as possible. No look to defend these towers, which I can completely understand. Do you try and defend the tier 2s, totally?
At this point, No Ping Esports being down about 12,000 gold. Fire Giant even being taken from SK Gaming. I don't see a world where tier 2 tower is even defendable. You look for split pushing more than anything.
And that seems to be what they're doing now. This tier 2 tower on the right-hand side has forced SK back on the right-hand side from Ducky to defend. Fail's going to push out the mid lane and look for a tier 2 tower of his own as Ducky tries to stop the back of Gon, but like his namesake, he was already out of there.
Left-hand side, Lobster and Funballer alongside Half Devil trying to get something on the left side. Phoenix up in the sky goes Gone. Fails, actually dives the middle Phoenix to take out Ufel.
And meanwhile on the right-hand side as well, Ducky's just chasing Margaret Anna through the jungle so he can't get involved. Now the Phoenix is already at half health at the moment. No minions left, but a couple of tanky characters on the side of SK that can easily take a couple of shots for this.
Going for it now at less than half health. It looks like SK Gaming get this almost uncontested.
Margaret goes down again. There's nobody can do against that. Funballer credited with a kill. Soon after the fact, he'll get a double very spare throw. On the back of the ship, stayed out of the fight, but in goes Funballer looking for the triple. Good jukes from God, won't keep him alive long enough, and Funballer will get a triple kill. Into the base go, SK looking to end game 1.
It's only ship alive. He has Circle of Protection, needs to drop it to defend his Titan, but SK Gaming get the D side and going for the win.
Lobster does fall down towards the end of that there. The Titan's still alive, no minions there. So SK actually have to fall back for a moment or two.
Okay, so SK Gaming slipping up a little bit. They didn't need to Fountain Dive, honestly. If they all in committed onto the Titan, I think they honestly would have had it, but knowing that Circle of Protection was still up, I think that was the determining factor to change their mind.
Analysts on the desk are now tilted because they ran to their seats very quickly then. And SK Gaming decided, no, it's not time to go to the desk just yet. We want to play a couple more. We're enjoying the fact we're winning.
Yeah,
okay?
Why not, right?
It's rare that we win so
enjoy
much.
the scene of the Fire Giant that's due to respawn in a minute and a half. Go for round 2.
Looking through the builds just to see if we see anything interesting coming out here. Is that Atalanta's bow from Funballer?
Yes, going for some more movement speed and attack speed as you're building up those stacks. And as a Ho Yi, getting extra attack speed to synergize with Mark of the Golden Crow, not a bad thing towards the late game.
It's a solid item, we just don't see it so much. I do feel that because Funballer is in a commanding lead with SK is the reason this has been picked up.
Pretty much. You really want to go for Odysseus bow.
We've seen Igval there earlier as well.
You could go for Igval, but when you're that far in the lead, you could just skip over that bridge item. But normally, over Atalanta's bow, you'll really want to go for the Odysseus bow because of how, when you're sieging in the Phoenixes, you don't really have time to hit any of the backline squishies. So but what you could do is you utilize your Odysseus bow to hit the mini wave, or you hit the front line to eventually chain off an arc towards your backline squishies.
No Ping really haven't managed to get things going. The one bright side I can see from No Ping is gone so far. He's only died that one time, but he's also been involved in every kill. And that's not a bad situation to be in as a jungler. It just doesn't help that all your lanes struggle at the same time.
The problem with Gon is that first kill onto ship was before the level 5 marker, and he couldn't utilize his global ultimate to really look for the counter ganks because every single play SK Gaming made was executed and finished very quickly.
Nice ring out from Spethro as he goes up down, but Half Devil doesn't find the flop. That was a classic EU Half Devil flop if I've ever seen one, but he will escape for the time being.
Still very close to finishing off this game is SK Gaming, needing to get the next Fire Giant as it has respawned. It's not going to be the enhanced Fire Giant as it's not respawned after the 25-minute mark, but still should be good enough to seal the deal as they're going to group up after the fact. I just don't see a world where No Ping can bounce back in game number 1. At this point, you got to be talking about what you did incorrectly try to fix your mistakes during picks and bans in game 2.
I mean, if you just look at stats alone, the one thing that screams out is ISIS. And Agro
Sure.
said it on the desk again, that ISIS may feast or famine. This was definitely a famine game up against the likes of an Erlang Shen and a Bacchus and, of course, a Cerberus that can just jump on you time and time again.
Fails is not one to slow things down. If he sees a playmaking opportunity, no matter how risky it's going to be, he'll probably go for it. So this was just like a day in the sun at the beach with like a couple of beers and some snacks for him.
So if SK plays so aggressive this game, Tolly, if you're no ping going into game 2, do you look for some counter initiation more often than not? Is it not worthwhile looking for that?
Well, counter initiation, this draft is pretty good for it, right?
I was going to
Because
say, Ratatoska's good for it.
Gon is able to make those counter engages. UFL can make a half rotation for the snipes. The problem was that when the plays were done from SK Gaming, there was no counter engages to be made of how fast Ship repeatedly fell time and time again.
Gon takes to the tree to look for an opportunity somewhere, won't really find an option. Instead, he goes into the enemy jungle. Left Hand Phoenix has respawned though for no ping, so far so good. They've lasted longer than before, but Margaret's still taking Fun Baller on a merry old chase.
Margot really wants to get this tier 2 tower, or at least to not allow any minion waves close to that right side Phoenix. So proxying between tier 2 and Phoenix. If SK Gaming rotate there, it will take them so long to kill this level 20 RDO. So they're just going to let the RDO be and try to go for this left side Phoenix that it's at a weakened state.
What a crazy day we've had so far. This is the 4th set of today. There is still another 5 days of competition. Another 4 sets every single day for the next 5 days. We'll find out by Saturday who is really going.
Some high-octane gameplay about to occur here because, honestly, so far today, I'm rather impressed of what's happening.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
Me too.
Luminosity struggled, I would say, up against Nocturnes. Trifecta getting upset. Hold that thought, though. Mid Phoenix being engaged from SK Gaming.
Fails on the left-hand side is working away on the Phoenix and gets it, though. Meanwhile, the fight in the mid lane is coming towards a disastrous end for no ping. They've done a good job of trying to keep SK at bay, but the Phoenix was focused on, and the Phoenix is just one hit from death. Lobster going to pop the ultimate, look towards the RTO in the backside, and the RTO is going to fall down soon after as Funballer joins the fray. Fails still looking for Ship one more time. Let's make it 11, and does so. Spethro going to leap away, and Funballer after the ricochet won't be there available right now, but the Titan may just fall now.
5-on-3 SK Gaming trying to get the Titan. They're actually going to go out of the Titan room, landing onto 2. God takes out 1 up until Funballer returns the favor.
Do you know what? I kind of hope SK throw the game now because they're just not ending this base. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Half level under pressure by Spethro was a level 19 versus a level 15. Killing spree for Fails. Game 1. SK Gaming.
Well, that was SK Gaming brute forcing their way at the very end. Can't blame them with that dominant of a lead that they had between the gold and the experience, fighting outside of the Titan room and then re-engaging back in. But hey, no ping are not actually feeling the burn, it seems.
I like the smiles on their faces because I think even Ship in the mid lane there in the glasses, he's like, yep. So let's not go ISIS again, maybe.
No more ISIS, potentially.
Fails broke his headset.
Yeah, where's his earmuff?
I don't know, he got so aggressive towards the end there and then he lost his earmuff too.
What if he doesn't play like that?
Maybe he does.
Like, he doesn't like to be comfortable. Like, he's like, I don't know.
And even Spethro, clearly, he's only got 1 headset on as well. So there it is. Game 1 in the books for SK Gaming. This is a best of 3, so no ping, back to the drawing board again. Do you change anything if you're SK?
SK Gaming, no. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I like their draft style, having Fails playing aggressive, God, Raijin for Lobster, to have the long-range artillery shots with the Taiko drums. I know for a fact Funballer wanted the Cupid very badly, but he needed some sort of a jump character outside of the Odin cage. So it could have been a Hou-Yi or an Uller. Hou-Yi made more sense because of the team fight control.
I hope this isn't the end. That's what I'm really hoping for. I hope we do get a game 3, but no ping. They've got a lot of work to do to try and get back into this one.
Their very first land internationally, you know, they're trying to make a statement for themselves. Being able to beat Black Dragons online in the fall split was no easy task for how consistent they were able to make it. So, if anything, they need to go back to the drawing board, and whether or not they win or lose this set, they still have another chance in the lower bracket.
Well, the analyst desk is standing by. The players are getting ready for picks and bans. We'll head over there.
And head over here we will, one more time, to really talk about SK Gaming and how successful they've been for the 2nd time this year. Very excited to really have this full conversation, not something we get to do often.
They've won some games during the SPL, it's just sets, so we have to wait until they've actually closed out the entire set.
That's fair. Say that. That's totally fair. With that said, though, SK Gaming certainly make a statement, and they say that they are here to play. They might have been able to close it out had they not messed around a little bit in the Titan room, but they do the do, and they take care of business. SK Gaming over no ping. What was your J-Mac Tucker key of the game?
Triple kill. Triple kill at the end by Funball. They should have just ended off of that, but they decided they wanted to mess around a little. Lobster fell, and they can't end the game without Papa Lob.
That's true.
No, that's actually in their SK contracts that they can't do
First
that.
line of it.
That's why they haven't won a lot, because they've had to wait so often.
You just might be correct.
Lobster, for me, it was Lobster and Fails bullying Oship in the early game. I mean, they get first blood there in that lane and then immediately come back as soon as he respawns and kill him again. And as I was saying, Isis, when she falls behind, you're already going to have some struggles there. And when it's Raijin, Erlong, Shen, two very aggressive gods in that instance, it gets even worse.
Yeah, I mean, this was just a situation where I maintained that Isis was a strong pick. I think the Isis selection had nothing wrong with it inherently. Just the execution factor didn't really come out where everybody wanted it to.
No, look, SK has totally said you just go right back to it. On the other hand, no ping probably needs to make up a couple changes.
Yeah, it can be a little bit rough there. Game number 2 on the way. What are the changes you want to see, J-Mac, out of these teams?
I want to see something less if they fall behind a little early, that it just falls off entirely. Isis is one of those gods, like you mentioned. If she gets behind, it's very difficult for her to be effective once that late game comes through. I'd like to see a little bit more passive of gods as well, not something super aggressive that they want to always fight early, because SK proved that they're just going to fight them early no matter what they do here.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tough here for No Ping to kind of respond. Funballer just looking really strong here on the Hunter, as per usual. Surprised that we don't see the Cupid, but you know what? On the other side of things, maybe this is the real SK, right? When you're 1-25, the last 4 sets probably don't mean much, and so maybe you're playing Cupid. I'm being a little glib here, but I'm also kind of being serious. Like, you're already so far down the river that getting a paddle isn't even worth it. Now you're at placement rounds. Now you're actually playing for the money. I mean, maybe this is SK just saying, like, you know what? Yeah, we took some weeks off, and it's just time to do it now.
Maybe, but they probably could have used the practice on the way up as well, regardless.
Yes,
so
I would agree.
We'll see if SK can keep the ship steered in the right direction as we head into Game 2 pretty soon.
Well, Ship certainly needs some better steering because he doesn't want to go 0-10 a second time. So game number 2 on the way. The Brazilians trying to best the bottom of Europe. SK Gaming coming into this one. Is this a guaranteed Game 2, J-Mac?
It's looking more and more like it. At the start, before the game even started out there, I thought that Noping had a really strong fighting chance, but after seeing that matchup there, if their drafting phase doesn't look, I would have to say, doesn't look perfect, this is looking like it's just going to go SK's way.
And Noping has some players that have played on the international stage before. You know, Gon, Ship, those guys have been here, but the duo lane looked a little bit flustered, and in their international competition. This is just a different level, and we see Black Dragons here so often that we kind of take it for granted how, yes, they aren't winning, but they're putting up fights and they're being competitive. That isn't easy for you to do at this sort of level.
Yeah, really tough stuff there. Ping, or No Ping rather, trying to rise to the occasion. Side note, Agro mentioned 2 players that to have some international experience. Solo laner Margot Anna used to be known as Stalker and actually made his debut here on the stage under Pain Gaming. So 3 players.
You don't think he was stalking Margot Anna, do you? Like, that would explain the names? Just making sure. You get done?
I'm not going to touch that one.
Well, I mean...
You're just supposed to let him flounder out there.
Yeah, that's actually probably the best thing to do.
Bans are done. Mercury and Freya, done. I'm feeding into this epic music, by the way. I'm feeling it. Baron Samedi and the Arlong Shen going to be banned out as well. First selection for No Ping on the clock. And it's going to be Terra. So a first pick Terra as opposed to the second selection. Usually we're seeing the Athenas or one of the power picks, and then Terra gets selected alongside somebody else. So No Ping kind of throwing us for a loop here.
Can certainly work out. I mean, it's something that has been played in solo basically all day.
Yep.
We'll see if that's where No Ping wants to put it for Margot Anna, but I think that SK is really going to look to prioritize the jungle again for Fails. When he gets off to a lead, that's when SK looks good against the best teams in the world. So
yes.
We'll see if SK can give him a priority pick. Pele is on the table here.
Margot Anna makes me think of Bolton Anna, the Base Hunter song. The song about a guy that falls in love with a chat bot. So out there, if anybody has any feelings for Scotty Bot, you're not the first. So we've been there and done that. Naja and Odin are going to be the choices for SK Game.
Almost made it through, huh, Tom?
You
were
almost
so
got it.
close.
You're staring at me.
You were in the exit and you turned around and just lost it. Unfortunate.
SK Gaming going to two of their staple selections. Naja is, I think, the character for Fails. I want to see Fails on Naja and Hun Bats, and that's how they win their games. That's pretty much how they win their games. So first selection, Naja. I'm a fan. Did he just have his notebook upside down?
He did, but he got it right. Maybe he's like packed in so many notes, you color coordinate it for different like ways. You never saw that before?
All right, Spencer Hastings, you need to calm down.
I don't understand
over
that
there.
reference.
No. Like on one side of the line, you write it normal, and you flip the notebook upside down. You write it in a different color, so that way, any way you look at the notebook, you got
It's
the
like
right
a
notes.
George Washington code over here. You guys are OTP completely. Oh my!
I was thinking more Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, I don't know
Washington,
what-
Like
what you're
Dan
talking about.
Brown.
Yeah, Dan Brown is the author of the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, we've got one angel and two demons on this desk. That's for sure.
That's a good book.
Ratatasker and Soul selected here by No Ping. And the final selection in the first half is going to be SK's The Morrigan. Is this in the hands of Lobster?
Yeah, I'd assume so. The Morrigan is kind of the de facto mid laner right now. I mean, you can play her in solo, but most of the time you see the Morrigan is going into the mid lane. Her early clear is really strong just because of that auto attack chain, lets her clear the wave pretty well. Plus, Dark Omen got a buff not too long ago to help you clear the wave a little bit better. I think this is going to be in the hands of Lobster.
The Claws?
He doesn't have claws, Tom. That's just his gamer tag.
No, he posted a video of him solo queuing. It's him on the skateboard.
That's a great post. I forgot about that. That is a quality Twitter meme.
It's a classic. That's a classic community post for sure. What are you thinking right now, J-Mac, about anything in particular?
Odin. I'm thinking about this Odin matchup here. It's really strong up against this Terra. We've seen it time and time again. Usually picked together, or one is banned, the other is picked here. I like that SK allowed Ping to just, have your first pick.
Yeah.
We're just going to make sure to have the hard counter back up to it. And Ratatosker does also have a little bit of trouble up against it, but can get out.
It's also interesting to note, those of you that are newer to SMITE Esports, the way first pick works is that he who loses gets the choice. So SK Gaming wins game number 1, so No Ping chooses to go for the first pick over here. So SK didn't really have the option to really go for the first pick, but I think they're rather happy with their second selection.
They can't be mad about Naja, Morrigan, and Odin as your top 3. Odin really is just a flexible god right now that can not only change the way that the enemy team is going to draft, but changes the way that you guys draft in a positive way. Just make sure that you're setting up for a lot of stuff.
Referee Vinny, talking to mid laner Lobster here real quick.
Do you think he's talking to him about his clause?
It's possible.
Maybe a clause in the player handbook.
I like that one. Trying to. Is there a way we can see Santa Claus in there? I don't know. I don't think so.
I was trying to find a way, but I couldn't find it.
You got to keep your mind in
But
the present to do that.
This Ho Yi ban. Now we might see the Cupid.
Maybe Cupid this time around, but Cupid not quite as good against Soul. Soul slow immune during that disapparate, so not a particularly good pick, especially into that matchup. But it wouldn't be Cupid mid, so it wouldn't be too much of an issue. Does do pretty well against Terra and Ratatosker, so maybe some potential there, but I still think that we're less likely to see it here than we were in game 1.
Love to see the Fafnir ban out here. With Soul selected, that's likely to be next to a Hunter that'll find its way in the carry role. Having two characters that are incredibly dependent on basic attacks, Fafnir's Coerce just amplifies that even more so. This is one of the classic combinations in SMITE, so banning Fafnir there, a very intelligent ban. Athena is just damn good, so a very surface level ban. Just don't let somebody play a character that can transport from one side of the map to the other and give a ton of mitigation on top of it, and then be able to taunt players into the damage after the fact. Also have block stacks.
Yeah, she does all that stuff.
She does a lot of stuff.
She does a lot of things.
Yeah, you should probably ban her.
Is that a story you want to talk about? Have you had some bad experiences with Athena's?
Listen, man, she is incredibly problematic. And what's so interesting is that I think that she is, I don't think that you can consider her necessarily overpowered. She's extremely strong, but like where, she's doing next to no damage to you, right? If built traditionally. Aggro doesn't seem to agree. Oh my God.
Look, man, I don't know what Defender of Olympus you've been getting hit by.
Defender
but
Olympus is a different story.
She hurts, dude. I don't know. I just Athena's really strong. There's no doubt. It's just that she opens up so many different gods and makes you play so differently around her.
That's the key.
Makes her really strong.
I love the way you said that, and if you could go a little bit deeper, she changes the way you play.
She does, and it also changes the way that you can play around the map in the sense that, well, I can't invade this buff because they'll just Athena all. Now it's a 3v2, and you have to be worried about initiations like that.
Half Devil literally shaking in his chair. Again, folks, I hope I will get Half Devil on camera at some point. He is a character, and you can see it right there. Artio and Chiron, the selections here for SK Gaming. Chiron likely to be in the hands of Funball, and Artio, well, is it solo? Is it support?
I think it might be support. No, it's probably solo up against the tier. You've
Yes.
got a great lane matchup either way. You're putting this Artio next to Terra or tier. Both of them hate playing up against that Guardian, but I think it's even more difficult for tier to deal with that, so I'd imagine that's going to the solo.
I can only imagine this is going into the solo. Like you said, tier is probably the worst of matchups. I mean, at least Terra has the wall to kind of do some damage, kind of keep her at bay, but tier really doesn't have anything. Half of his kit is all about dashing throughout the map, so I'd rather see this R2 into the solo lane, but you never know with SK.
Is this the draft, J-Mac? Is No Ping going to bring this to the battlefield? Is this the one that beats SK Gaming?
I'm not 100% sold on it, but I like this draft better than last game's.
This is not it for me. I mean, you're leaving Artio up until last when you pick the tier, and Ducky goes, I guess he didn't feel like winning lane today. I'll take Artio. I think that one slipped through No Ping. I think SK has got the much better draft here.
I completely agree. I think this is an egregious mistake, actually, picking tier into the Artio, rather picking tier with Artio available. This is as bad of a mistake as you can make in the picks and bans. Unfortunately, or fortunately for them and their fans, rather, it is only part of the game. You can still absolutely win. Maybe not lane, though. No Ping Esports versus SK Gaming. Hindu, bring us the action.
Thank you so much, Desk. Yes, into game we go. Tully and I will be bringing you game 2 of this best of 3 between SK Gaming and No Ping. Now, game 1, if you didn't see it, don't worry, you didn't miss much. Just know that there's a 1 next to SK and there's not a 1 next to No Ping. We'll just put that one to bed and hope that game 2 brings us a much better tale.
These are your Brazilian representatives replacing Black Dragons as they weren't able to make it through the online portion. So if you don't see Black Dragons, now you understand why No Ping Esports was able to topple them during that portion. Not having much of a different story, unfortunately, during the LAN environment. Getting a little bit of the better end of them was SK Gaming because of all their combined LAN experience. Lobster, the champion through the launch tournament. Ducky has been around the block, at least in the LAN environments. Half Devil, his time in the sun with Cloud9 in Europe. Funballer as well, being up there with Paradigm.
Yeah, I mean, time in the sun for Half Devil, I don't really call it that. It was on Cloud9, but that's about a bit. Dual lane, off we go again. Half Devil winning the trade against UFL, and UFL taking way more damage than he bargained for as Half Devil falls back. The one thing the desk brought up, and it's a real clear one, you leave Artio to last pick, and you draft a Terra and a tier into that. Oof.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely going to be good for Spethro once he's going to be able to avoid some of the cripple. But I don't see a world that Dougie's going to allow that at any given moment. I also don't see how Margot is ever going to clear her. And the one thing I used to do in the solo lane up against Tiers or Hercules was find any way to stop them from clearing, whether it was a Hercules driving strike or a Tier Fearless. That's why I would go Hell, cleanse the archers. I would go Ares and cripple them with the chains. And that was when Hog used to be an important thing because obviously you have no clear as an Ares. So the idea was you kill them and then clear the way with the Hog.
Now, Margot on the right-hand side there, you did see him manage to blink towards his blue. It wasn't because he was scared of it, he was just trying to get the experience. The early pressure from Gon, though, is going to be paid towards the solo lane, and I think that's the best place to do it here, Tolly. Pay attention to the solo lane, try and stop the RTO before she gets going.
That's true. If you can invade the blue buff, that's where it matters the most, because an RTO that can spam her abilities is a very obnoxious bear to deal with. So that could be the game plan from No Ping Esports. Still very early in the laning phase. Blue buff due to respawn in 1 minute.
Spethro push back, has to dash away, only single dash, so eats a bit of the damage from Formula after the fact there. So far, though, the early game from No Ping's dual lane did okay, but now it's time for the turnaround, thanks to the bird bombs now being available for Half Devil where required, although he's not put a point into his shield just yet. He's just gone for the leap and the slow.
Don't mind that, actually, because if you're looking for kill potential, you're going to be able to cut the distance onto Ufel. You could walk up to Ufel, slow him, basic attack him, because Odin basic attack still hurt, even at level 2. And then once the rollout happens, then you jump and follow up.
Ducky just playing that lane nice and safe on the right-hand side here. Is Gon going to do a bit of invasion of his own on this right, taking away the back harpies. We saw Fails moments ago on the left-hand side that did exactly the same thing there too. So the junglers dancing around the map on either side.
There could be some kill potential in the dueling very soon. Horrific Emblem now available yet again for Half Devil, and with the health bar from Spethro getting smaller and smaller.
Bird Bomb keeps coming out from Half Devil, but Ufel keeps dashing away perfectly timed. Spethro, though, taking a bit more poke than bargain for, and now he's out of potions too, whereas you can keep an eye on what SK have, and Half Devil plenty healthy at the moment with how he's looking.
Well, Horrific Emblem going to get countered by the sprint. 10-second difference between these two relics, which is a very small window to exploit. If SK Gaming keep that back of their mind, they could go for round 2 in less than 2 minutes time.
Good news for No Ping, though. It's a better situation, but I think Caster Curse just happened because mid lane, Ship was under a lot of pressure there. He will dance away to safety just about, but it cost him his beats.
Spethro not able to really stay healthy in this duel lane. Ufel having to dash away consistently means that he doesn't have enough mana to really just spam his astral arrows.
Ship going to rotate to the left-hand side, just looking for experience more than anything else because, well, at the moment, Lobster's just doing a good job of freezing the wave, but Gon's had enough of that. I'm going to pressure out the mid laner for a moment or two. And I do like the conversation of what No Ping are doing here, rotating around a little bit more, but now the dueling may have overextended.
Oh, they definitely did here, but the rotation from Gon even going to overextend to Half Devil, punishing them for their transgression.
Oh, Lobster going to go to the sky using the ultimate that Ratatoska brings, but he's only got Fails in support. He looks towards Ufel, who's still only level 4. No beads available. Lobster gets himself a kill, and SK might get 2.
Oh, he got it. Lobster diving the tier 2 tower. Gon going to take out Fail, so it was a 3 for 2 at the end of the day.
Margot under pressure, but did pretty good work there up against Ducky to even things out and make sure he got some sustain involved. But Lobster flexing a little bit there. I like the call. It was a little bit risky at first, but then I realized the dueling was still level 4.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Without ultimates to worry about, of the Earth and Fury, also of the Astral Barrage, that was a clean tower dive.
But totally already, No Ping off to a much better start. They expected SK to invade, and they collapsed beautifully. That was preemptive, clearly.
The patience from Ship, there was 2 ways that could have went. That was Ship going to clear the purple buff right away and then move on with his life, or allow a false sense of security to SK Gaming that they would be able to get that buff, even to the point that Half Devil used his bird bomb to clear the purple buff.
Yeah.
Now, there could have been a potential secure on the purple buff, but seeing the better prize at the end of the road, Ship wanted to kill out Funballer as soon as possible instead of securing the own purple.
Well, so Ship's actually got himself off to a lead this game. Bit of an advantage over Lobster, both of them with 2 kills. But Ducky under pressure here by both Margaret, Annie, and Gon. But a stun from the big old bear saves the day. Lawbringer off the mark. He's trying to survive as long as he can. Got the roots off of Margaret. Get soloed. Gon could go next. He is gone after that tower shot. Ducky sniggers in the corner with a cheeky smile on his face.
Wow, Ducky really able to survive that one. Good juke of the Lawbringer. But hold that thought, because Half Devil is going to trap out Spethro.
What a crazy play on that right-hand side. I kind of looked at him and, well, he gets away with a stun, but they still dove all the way in for the kill just too early. They're not tanky enough yet, Tolly.
If there was a defensive power cleave from Margot, he heals himself off. He's going to be able to confirm the kill on top of that, but that only counts, you know, close. How does FDOT say it? Like, almost counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, but none of that available in the soul lane. Ducky walks away cleanly after getting 2 kills.
Listen, I don't know about horseshoes and hand grenades, but what I do know is the first blood happened. We've not even looked back at it yet, but wait a second. Lobster could die in the mid lane to Ship right now. Lobster's juke boosts have got to be good. SK still going strong, but Gon will dive in and get the kill, but maybe he's overextended.
Oh, Gon gonna go into the sky, through the cosmos, into safety. Half Devil, no ultimate available, but Bird Bomb missed barely off the mark.
And now Half Devil could be under pressure too, but Assassin fails, closes the gap on Ship. Ship jukes around a little bit more as Half Devil does the dance around Spethro and keeps him busy. This is getting a bit awkward now because No Ping and SK are going toe-to-toe, and this is a bit more like the No Ping you'd expect to see from Brazil.
Oh, I like that defensive ultimate from Fails, realizing that he'd rather use the ultimate defensively as opposed to the purification beads. It's a much shorter cooldown, and you're going to be able to at least continue the aggression.
Let's go back to that Ducky double. If you didn't see it earlier on, here's another look back. This is Ducky 2v1.
Clean, honestly. This is when he juked out the Lawbringer, uses the root, avoids a defensive dash, and then goes back in to get the swipes. Ducky's thinking to himself, I'm probably dead here.
One, right?
I'm probably dead here. Let me swipe out Margot and get a guaranteed 1-for-1. And the fact that that allowed him to get a second kill afterwards, well, he's just thinking his lucky stars.
Ducky's now like, this is my lane here, friend. Margot forced back to base again. Does survive with the barest amount of health, but it cost him his ultimate. And as you can see, Margotana started with the blink and not the teleport. And this is going to start to cause problems if this continues.
It's true. If he misses out on even half the wave under that tier 1 tower, things are going to add up. It's already about a 1 to 1.5 level disparity, and it's always a race to the level 12 marker between these soul laners. You get your second relic first, are able to start rotating in the mid lane around the Gold Fury and start swinging some of the team fights.
Supports are starting to rotate around a little bit more towards the mid lane too. Ducky and Margot are going to keep going at it day in, day out, but it's going to be harder to find solo kills. Keep an eye on the rotations more often than not that get involved. Ship in the mid lane, though, has his full boots completed and going towards the Bancroft's talent we see so many times on Souls.
Yes, Souls really benefit from the Bancroft's talent simply because when you're getting Nova in the backline, you use that Supernova, then all of a sudden you're hitting people like a Mack truck at that point. But I think that it could hurt you at the end of the day by not going for the Book of Thoth, for the mana sustain. Not having a huge mana pool or the MP5 means that you could be giving up a lot of team fighting presence if it lasts for a long time.
Really like the wall coverage from No Ping so far. There's a nice little line across SK's side of the map keeping vision. So they do know that SK have invaded their jungle and are stripping away the back harpies. Ducky, got to make sure Margot Anna stays in check a little bit more so, but he's got to be careful because Fails is on the rotation too now.
They got the stun off, but the Fearless as well. Lawbringer available under the tier 1 tower. Half Devil not in position for the cage.
Oh, but Gon could now be trapped inside the Ring of Doom. He jumps into 3, gets some good damage off. He forces Margot back in, but he can't find a pick. Gon goes down, Fails gets him, and he's also going to look for the kill onto Margotani. Here comes Ship.
Oh, Ship going in 1v3, drops his Disapparate, misses the Stellar Burst. Fails, needs to be careful for the Supernova as it's about to come up.
Ship out of the Disapparate too. Spethro under pressure has to ult defensively. Lobster hanging in the jungle. He's going to turn into Ratatoska, and this could be a lot of pressure as Lobster going to focus on Spethro. Well, he doesn't play Assassins too often, Lobster, but he'll at least get the job done.
Got a guaranteed kill on the squishy, or at least on the low health target of the Terra, not having to worry about a lot of cooldowns there. Ship use that ultimate defensively to prevent the tower dive, but you can't stop out Lobster transforming to the Rat.
In fact, it's solely SK. They've not played this game clean. They've kind of taken it to what No Ping were doing in this game. But they're just showing that they've got confidence now. They're playing with confidence against this team.
Well, last game it took about 16 kills for SK Gaming before they finally found a death. But this time around, No Ping Esports a little bit more warmed up now, not taking SK Gaming in too much of an intimidation factor, playing them as they're more realistic and looking for those highlight plays. It takes those sneaky tactics that Ship did around the purple buff to get that confidence under yourself.
Nice little sneaky tactic actually out of No Ping there. Get the beads out of Fails as he was going for his own speed buff. He knew he had opposition around. But this lazy backside of SK has been punished pretty heavily now. They'll get a tier 1 in the mid lane. And that opens the map up in favor of the Brazilians.
500 gold going to No Ping Esports. Mitigates some of the bleeding now, cutting the deficit down to 1,500 gold as we're approaching the 11-minute mark.
Half Devil getting aggressive on his own. Just going to force Ship back. He was out of mana there. Marg on the right side, 2 levels down at the moment on the tier. Has the Pestilence completed. As now SK start to get aggressive on the left-hand side of the map.
And that's going to be an issue as Margot Anna still 2 levels behind, just now hitting level 10 rather, as Ducky's going to start making these rotations once he hits level 12, and Gold Fury shall be looked at rather soon.
Just a bit of a lull in the opportunities, really. Gold Fury Oracle's available. Plenty of war coverage for SK around that Gold Fury too. And I would say, like, they should be pretty confident in terms of clear for themselves, at least doing that Gold Fury at this stage.
They could. They do have the damage coming from the Odin Bird Bomb. Also, Naja has like the early damage, like once you pop your attack speed steroid. But then you got to worry about no ping from stealing it, because Ship should be able to deal the damage with a supernova.
We're speaking about Ship, and he's not based in a while. I mentioned he had no mana earlier on. He's still got no mana. He's trying to soak as much experience as possible at this moment in time, but in doing so, it does prevent them from looking for ganks or objectives or fights.
If SK Gaming sees Ship back in front of their faces, then they probably will go for a Gold Fury at that point. Not having to worry about the soul magical burst damage means that there's a lot less steal potential.
Two builds coming out from the mid lane as if they both just returned to base as well. Bumba's Mask being picked up by Lobster, so he's going for a bit more extra mobility that we've seen out of this time and time before. Whereas Ship, he's going for the ring option. The question is, which ring?
Honestly, you can go any ring you really want. Me, personally, I like the Hasten ring just for the mobility purposes, but if you're really looking to shred some of these frontliners, you got to go for a Demonic Grip at the end of the day, because you need that protection shred. Obsidian Shard helps out your abilities, but Soul is one of these very few hybrid characters between basic attacking and ability damage that you can't go wrong.
It just depends as well on what your comp's about as well, doesn't it, I guess? I mean, if Sol's got a lot of other magical dealers with her, she can get a little bit more shred for the team, or she can look for individual power. Talking about power, SK Gaming trying to flex that around the Gold Fury right now, but the ward is down from no ping. It draws Spethro and Ship in, and they're still on wards right now. Need to be careful, does Ship, about being caught in an awkward position, trying to get back towards mid.
Sentry ward right inside the Gold Fury pit out of no ping esports. It's not going to get countered anytime soon, and I don't know if that Sentry ward actually identifies. Yeah, neither of those wards see each other, but they smell it out. They're trying to go for it, but that's only going to force a fight.
Catches Ship in the jungle. The stealth tactics from Lobster were beautiful, and the nuts for good measure pick up the kill. Down comes onto Gon. Does Lobster after Gon jumps? So does he. Killing spree for Ducky, 12-4.
Oh, but here comes Margot with a nice double Fearless, taking out Fails. Very low is Half Devil, but still dropping the horrific emblem. Egg is being used from Ufel. Stun. Lobster takes out another target, 4 for 1 at the end of the day.
Margot still thinking about going in here against all these carries, doing some decent damage. Lawbringer in place, but Aegis by Lobster. Half Devil's Bird Bomb into the full burst, gets Fumball the kill, the deicide, and now the Gold Fury.
I'm surprised that Margot doesn't wait for the Gold Fury to be started, because now it's guaranteed for SK Gaming without any steal potential. At the very least, as a tier player, you can juggle people with your Fearless outside of the leash radius to force a reset.
End of the day, though, he just went to... I think he thought he could get kills with what it was. He could kill one or two of them.
It's not worth it, because you could just get the kills as the Gold Fury is being attempted, and then you could Lawbringer into safety, or Lawbringer into danger, or Blink into danger, and then Lawbringer on out.
So outside of Gon in the jungle, who once again has kind of held his own so far in this game, he's kept even pace with Fails, both level 12 and 13 respectively. Fails just hit 13 now. The rest of the team, a few more levels behind, 2 or 3 at the minimum.
And it's only going to get worse for No Ping Esports if they keep making plays like that happen, if they get caught off guard. More vision control for SK Gaming with a slight lead that they had earlier, able to stretch it even further. And No Ping saw that SK Gaming were doing the Gold Fury, but they staggered in one by one, and they couldn't collapse collectively onto SK Gaming. Lobster doing a good job starting things off with his stealth form, really punishing, I believe it was Ship at the beginning of the fight.
Yeah, it really was. Just a stealth tactic coming in there, baited them in towards the Gold Fury. Now they get a Pyro. Into the sky goes Gon, not because he wanted to, but because Fails made him, and Fumballer gets credit for the kill with the ultimate.
That has to be so disheartening. When you catch the enemy jungler off guard, you're dealing 70% of the damage to them, and he gets off one ability, and then all of a sudden you can't do anything to him because of how long he's up in the air.
Margot getting zoned away from this tier 1 tower. He just wants to try and keep it alive if he can. But slowly but surely, this mini wave coming in will whittle it down and get a tier 1 tower. Rest of the map. Look at the left-hand side. I mean, it's split push Ducky right now in duo.
500 gold from the Pyromancer, 500 gold from the tier 1 on the right, another 500 gold from the tier 1 on the left.
Blink Fails. Gonna look for the pressure to Ship, who disapparates to safety. Spethro, different story. His dashes are down, the ring is down, and Spethro falls to Fumballer for his 3rd kill of the game.
I like that Half Devil leaves the cage, knowing Funballer was guaranteed to get the kill, and tries to look for another play elsewhere.
Blink and Fearless out from Margot there, catches Half Devil and Lobster. But at the end of the day, Beads was consumed there, I believe, by somebody. I think Lobster did, and now he's going to have to take to the sky and maybe even reinitiate.
Just going to play it safe and disengage, not wanting to scrap with no ping. Just going to go for the tier 1 tower instead. So getting out the ultimate, but still holding on to the Aegis. A good defensive measure out of Lobster.
So tomorrow we've still got a couple of games left to be played of the international regions too. We'll get to see our first look at the Oceanic region tomorrow as Atletico take on some North American EU opposition. But not only that, as we watch Ship Under Pressure, we get to see Armada, the NA SML team play too. Ducky at the moment, though, tanking up a storm.
Going to disengage for the moment, as will Half Devil. 50% of the tier 2 tower in mid shall fall. 1v1 fails versus Margot. A little bit too far forward. Is the tier player going to get punished?
Ring toss is out, slows him down, and up, and away. Back to the fountain you go. Mid lane still being sieged down. Half Devil bird bombs over the wall, traps in Ship inside the ring. Disapparate will get him out of it, however, but the focus is on the tier 2 tower.
There goes the Earth and Fury as well. Gone, gonna blink into the backline, forcing the Aegis at a Lobster. The snipes from Ufel takes out the mid laner.
Good combo from you, No Ping there, just to support each other and realize the overextension of SK Gaming. They do keep their tier 2 tower standing and only bring down Lobster. But at least it's a sign of something.
That's true. They need any kills they can get. And when you can shut down a Morrigan, that's 2 levels ahead of your own mid laner, then you don't have to worry about those sneaky stealths. That's always going to be looking. The Lobster is looking for those. You know that because of the Bumba's mask.
Now the gold lead you can see is about 7,000. But how that transpires, look at the net worth on the left-hand side. Closest person to anybody on the side of SK Gaming is the solo laner, Tyr, who's at 9.1. The Odin is above it. That's rough.
When the support is out farming your soul laner that should have, up to the most farm of your own team, that's an issue at the end of the day, and there needs to be a way to fix that in the future games. No Ping Esports struggled very greatly in game number 1. Made some improvements in game number 2. They were on the board a lot faster than in game number 1. And if they don't fix these problems soon in game number 2, they're going to the lower bracket.
As we said, No Ping, the Brazilian representatives, no Black Dragons this time round. But it's a good experience for Brazil as a whole, this, win or lose, because the region gets more competitive experience as a whole region.
That's true.
More teams that have played at the international level, you get an idea of how to improve, and hopefully Black Dragons and No Ping continue to push the boundaries in Brazil.
You can always tell that there's different metas between different regions, whether it's Europe Pro League, North America Pro League, or any of these global series teams. And when you see the clash of the 2 different styles, it's always refreshing to see the difference of ideas and which one is superior between mechanical execution versus just straight up strategy.
And this strategies like proxy farming, focusing on towers, we see all of it through the years. Now, though, Tier 1 tower does fall on the right-hand side, as did the Tier 1 as well. There's looking for a Tier 2, actually, in the mid lane is SK Gaming now, without minions. That's how confident they are.
Yeah, it was very low, and Funballer having plenty of damage, going for some penetration in that build. Yonan's Wrath, Crusher, having plenty of physical power with a Transcendence on top of this. And speaking of penetration, fails, going for a Brawler's Beat Stick for a little bit of anti-healing on top of the pen.
Blue buff taken down. Firegen is available for SK, but they're not really interested in that right now unless it presents itself. Lobster's going to get aggressive on towards that Tyr. As Tyr gets the fearless off, he gets caught by the sash and fails. Law brings away to safety, but now he's trapped in a ring that forces out the defensive usage of that relic.
Ooh, Chef gonna go use the Aegis after the Disapparate. Snipes coming on through. The target is Funballer, Earth and Fury as well. Giddy Up is being used defensively as Ship falls first.
And there's the big difference between these 2 teams right now. You've seen SK peeling for each other in the back line, making sure Funballer got out where Ship was left alone up against 2 tanks, and SK made quick work of him. Next on the list will be Spethro. Slowly but surely, Lobster credited with a kill. 2 members dead on No Ping.
The communication from SK Gaming, it's very evident that they are on the same target. No matter how scattered that team fight is, SK Gaming are recollecting themselves at every given moment, rewarding themselves with a 21-minute fire giant.
Speaking of rewards, winner of this set goes on to face Space Station Gaming of all teams. Probably the highest seeded team in North America coming into this. Well, they are the highest seeded team in North America coming into this. SK is going to have a test with how this is looking. But this at least was a good warm-up for them.
Now, Space Station Gaming have struggled against Europe
true.
so far in Season 5,
Yep.
but that was against Dignitas, against Energy, and against Team Rival between spring and
Yeah,
summer.
but then again, Toey, SK has struggled against Energy, Dignitas, and Rival.
Sure,
Right?
that's very true. And that was the online portion. LAN could be a different story for both of those teams, and this will be the first time that they faced probably since like Season 2 days, I want to say, between like Barracuda versus Lobster. No, Season 3, they've also had a group play.
They would have played a few times.
Yeah.
Definitely.
During the
Definitely.
group play, they played it. I remember because they were in Orbit.
That's correct, and I believe the Orbit team put that Barracuda Jeff team through to Worlds that time of that group stage. Maybe they'll need some luck this year. It won't work out quite that way this time round, I guarantee you that. But at the moment, SK still trying to put No Ping to bed. As it stands, 22.5 minutes in, they've got the Fire Giant now, and it's all about the Phoenixes at this moment in time.
With a 14,000 goal lead, it's very possible that SK Gaming just start barreling down very quickly instead of looking for those picks or doing a 4-1 split. The 5-man grouping has been strong so far from SK Gaming. I don't expect it to stop anytime soon.
Yeah, they've got a good balance of engage too. We talked a lot today about Siege and Phoenixes and the likes. Well, this is a nice little balance of power. A couple of frontliners that can definitely take a lot of damage. And then an assassin that can close a gap relatively quickly with the ring toss, let alone the sash.
The blinks available for Fails and Ducky of how they want to aggress. Not too many relics for Funballer. 10 seconds on the beats, 25 on the Aegis, so he has to be mindful of his positioning, but it will be a 4-1 split between the left and the mid. SK Gaming seeing who they can at least pull in the mid lane for this push.
And it's going to be Gon as well. I like what Fails did. He rotated early to the mid to stop Gon from just pushing all the minions back and making this threat less of one. Half Devil tanking up a Storm on the front line for now. Falls back after a couple of more Phoenix shots. They're just really waiting for minions in the mid lane, if they can, to start pouring in to cause a problem.
Gon not going to be too worried about it. He has through the Cosmos to put himself on the left side of the lane. Minions coming down in about 10 seconds time. Still Fire Giant around SK for another minute and a half, so they have plenty of time. About 3 waves worth of time for this push.
No Ping does have a pretty good defense though. Good wave clear with the likes of Ship and that Stellar Burst to cause problems. And then when the fight starts, I mean, a Tear and a Ratatoskid can cause a lot of problems. Here we go.
Trying in the back line, Half Devil going to zone out a couple members. 3 specifically caught in the cage. Earth and Fury, keep in mind, Gone in the sky. Who's the target?
Oh, Lobster turning into the Terror Boy. He's getting bursted pretty heavily. Gon went up and down. At the same time as Fails takes one up and crashes down with Ship. Spethro's dead as Rama did as much damage as he can. But the death ball of SK Gaming push No Ping and the 3 remaining members back to the fountain.
SK Gaming weren't interested in the Phoenix originally, knowing that they had some pick opportunities. There's a beautiful cage that wasn't even phantomed out. I'm pretty sure that was still on cooldown, and as a result, that's going to be 2 clean picks. Left side Phoenix. No Ping not interested in defending the middle Phoenix. I think they just want to defend their Titan.
I mean, they had no real ultimates available to help them out there. Yeah, a couple of relics totally. But I don't think they could stop the death ball here, especially if one of them tries to go aggressive and Ducky just goes, Cripplefield. Yeah, it's a bit rough. Final Phoenix, though, being siege, Slash onto Margaret, who Tear Fearless is back into them, and then gets bursted for all his health. Funballer onto a rampage, and now looking to 2-0 Brazil.
Nah, this ain't it, Chief, for Margot going on in the back line like that. That was just a clean pick for SK Gaming and a clean 3 Firebird stripped away Titan. At its most vulnerable form, and in a 5-on-4 without the Fire Giant, SK Gaming going to recollect themselves and go for the enhanced version.
Man, this is a classic SK game where they win throughout and then maybe lose right at the end. Imagine if they get decided now. That's just like some of the EU games this year.
This will be like some sort of
Do you remember how
parallel universe if they get decided now out of nowhere.
Well, let's hope Brazil can do it and take us to a game 3, potentially here tonight on the first day of this 6-day event to start things off. Ducky blinks in, sets Ufel up. It's not Ufel, he fell, they all fell. The Titan falls soon after. SK Gaming are going to take down Brazil 2-0.
A clean performance, not overstretching, 2-0. Finally, in 26 minutes of play, SK Gaming showing what Europe SPL is all about.
A little bit of a sigh there from Funball of relief of the fact that they've actually won another game, and that's not shots at them. It's just been a rough year for the SK boys, and now they found themselves in the LAN situation here, facing off tomorrow, or not tomorrow, the day after, which is Wednesday, after I work out my math of what day we're on. Wednesday, they'll face off against Space Station Gaming.
That's going to be a very interesting matchup to consider. But for the time being, you can tell SK Gaming were certainly prepared for their opposition today, doing their homework, not messing around with any sort of Cupid fun baller shenanigans in game number 1 or otherwise, getting a very clean W, not tower diving the way that a lot of other teams with the expected win would have.
Was this SK roster exactly the same as we saw them through the year? Did anything really change, from your opinion?
I think they felt more comfortable, actually,
Okay.
because when you're going into here, the HRX placements, you're coming in here with a blank slate. Despite not qualifying to Worlds, all these teams here from all these regions are here trying to battle it out for the last 4 remaining spots, and they're going to have 2 chances to do so within these 6 days.
And that's a big thing for SK Game coming into this. It is a clean slate, as you said. And I guess there's no real pressure on them. I mean, in one way, sure, they've not performed well in their region specifically. But then again, they've come into this and like, well, no one's expecting us to do very well anyway, so every game we win is a bonus.
And the thing is, the mechanical skill of this team is certainly there. Lobster in game number 1 on the Ryzen, very impressive. Fails looked very comfortable on the Erlongshan in game number 1, blinking in aggressively, finding multiple targets with a 9 turns blessing. I'm expecting SK Gaming to just continue this kind of early game pressure throughout their set against Space Station Gaming as well.
Well, how this has gone today, though, has been very exciting throughout. Yes, SK rounded out the day against Brazil, but what crazy matchups we've had throughout. From the beginning to end.
Luminosity against Nocturnes going all 3, trifecta, losing to Insignum. The biggest upset of day number 1.
Crazy times, crazy fun. That's day 1. Let's get it to the desk to break it down.
Look at that. Hinduman the Rapper. You like that one?
It was fine. It was a normal throw. You're the one who made it weird.
I am just lifting up my comrades. That's all. SK Gaming take this one 2-0. No ping. Wind up losing this one. Not really their best showing.
No, but look, SK looked pretty good for what it's worth. I think Ducky, had the phenomenal turnaround kill underneath his own tower.
That was
Solos
crazy.
2 people. That was impressive. SK's a good team, and despite their record, at least in relation to these international teams, they are still going to be the favorites.
It was funny. You and I were both calling on and off broadcast, bringing up how Funball had said that Fails and Ducky were fantastic mechanical players, and then we saw, or I spoke to Trixtank, who said similar things, and you and I were like, what? And then Ducky does this.
I mean, this is just why you do not let RTO through the banning phase at all. You just get rid of this guy, especially on mechanically sound players like Ducky. They didn't even get really a chance to touch him. Once the cripple field came out in the root, there's nothing you can do against this RTO. He is just running havoc in these matchups.
One thing I will say about Ducky that I think was on display here, and mayhaps I was just looking with a stronger microscope, but his spacing ability playing the RTO, he's always in what I call the dead zone. If you're familiar with playing Hunters, like he can hit you and you can't hit him, and he phenomenal at that. And he was always in that dead zone, and I think that was really impressive about him playing against the melee characters.
SK looked good. They took care of business here today. This is what they needed to do. I think for SK to feel confident going into tomorrow and the better games, then I think that they needed to win convincingly here today, and they did that.
If they stumbled, I think that would be the bigger story here. SK Gaming looked like a Pro League team taking care of an international team, and if you're an SK Gaming fan at home, that's exactly what you want. We've got 2 of the veterans, 2 of the longer-standing players finally here at LAN, and they've got some things to say after their game. Papa Lob and Kieran Funball, what do you got to say for yourselves?
We're here with Lobster and Funballer from SK Gaming. Congratulations on your 2-0 victory against No Ping. First question, did it go as expected?
Well, we didn't really know exactly what to expect because this team was incredibly hard to research compared to any other team. I feel like we had like a couple of game sets that were 4 months old or something like that, and that was pretty much what we had to work with. So we didn't really know what to expect. So I guess sure.
Yeah, and plus they had a sub, I believe, for the support role. So we had to ask around, see if anybody could help us, and luckily we got someone who could help us.
Well, a good performance today. Now on Wednesday, you guys are going to be facing off against Space Station Gaming. When was the last time you faced off against